There are two big indications that the economy is in trouble and a recession is coming. One is the fewer number of jobs created than were expected in July. Economists expected 200 to 300,000 new jobs, and the economy only produced 114,000. And the majority of those new jobs were government rather than private sector. Today's lunch alert is sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. You know the saying, the first cut is the deepest? Well, the Kamala Harris market crash is happening, and the first cut is very deep. But the more significant danger is the inversion of the yield curve. The public demands a certain level of interest before it will lend the government money on the short term, and a larger, higher rate of interest before it will lend the money on the long term. So short-term debt always has a lower rate of interest than long-term debt. Because in short term, you can foresee what's happening, you can see what's going on. And long term, you're taking a lot of risk and you're tying up money for a much longer period of time. So for example, in 22, the interest rate for short-term borrowing from the Treasury was about 0.5 point. But for long-term borrowing, it was over 2 points. If they want your money for a longer term, they got to pay more for it. That's completely logical. But sometimes the illogical happens, and it's happening now. Short-term interest exceeds long-term interest, and that reflects unbelievable volatility in the short-term interest. Even if the government's just asking to borrow money for 90 days or for 6 months, the lenders are going to charge them very steep interest because they're so insecure about the state of the economy. And almost every time the yield curve is inverted and short-term debt costs more than long-term debt, a recession follows. Now, politically, I believe that a key cause of this sudden downturn in the economy is the possibility that Kamala Harris could be elected president. In previous months, this was not a problem and not foreseeable, and looked like Biden was going to run, Biden would lose, Trump would be the president, and was all over. But suddenly, with the boomlet going on for Harris, manufactured by the media and of short duration, investors are saying, hey, wait a minute, Kamala Harris could be president. And that's triggering a panic reaction and a negative reaction. And they're saying, hey, if I have a risk of investing my money under Kamala Harris, I want more interest than I would if it were Donald Trump or even if it were Joe Biden, because there's a greater risk because she's so incumbent. So I think that what's going on now is that as Harris moves up and becomes more and more possible to be a successful candidate, the economy worsens and the circumstances around her worsen, and her chances of winning are dropped. So in a certain sense, the Democrats are chasing their own tails. Their own success makes their election less likely. Thanks for watching. Today's lunch alert is sponsored by the Patriot Gold Group. You know the saying, the first cut is the deepest? Well, the Kamala Harris market crash is happening, and the first cut is very deep. Now Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan are calling for supersized rate cuts this year to try to counter the impact of the rapidly approaching recession that the data indicates is coming. As I've tried to warn you in previous videos, rate cuts usually are followed by major stock market crashes. In 2000 and 2007, the Dow and NASDAQ crashed after the first rate cuts were announced. Meanwhile, in 2007, gold went up over 200% and silver over 300%. So they're going to be forced to cut rates because they're going to be forced to stop a recession from defeating Kamala Harris. And when they do that, that's going to cause major gains in gold and major losses in stocks. So just want to let you know and warn you. So don't forget to call the Patriot Gold Group. Thanks for watching. The Patriot Gold Group offers no fee for life IRAs to viewers of these videos. The IRA minimums are $25,000 and $100,000 for the no fee for life IRA. So call the Patriot Gold Group and ask for the no fee for life IRA.